What unites these different variations of Halloween is the celebration of life and loved ones. Please tell me down below how you celebrate Halloween or traditions in your country that maybe I didn't mention. You guys may or may not know, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness now. Most of my family still is, but I didn't get to celebrate any holidays as a child. No Santa, no Christmas, no Easter Bunny, no Halloween. I lived on one of the busiest streets in town, and we had to shut off all the lights and pretend like we were not home, and I would sit at the window and watch all the kids go by in costume, which is why I think I'm so into it now as an adult. So tell me what you like to do on Halloween. So we're gonna start with Austria. In Austria, some people will leave bread, water, and a lighted lamp on the table before retiring on Halloween night. It was once believed that these would welcome the dead souls back to Earth on a night that Austrians considered to be magical. Belgium. The Belgians believe that it is unlucky for a black cat to cross one's path, and also unlucky if it should enter a home or travel on a ship. The custom in Belgium on Halloween night is to light candles in memory of deceased relatives. Canada. Modern Halloween celebrations in Canada began with the arrival of the Scottish and Irish immigrants in the 1800s. Jack-o'-lanterns are carved, and the festivities include parties, trick-or-treating, and the decorating of homes with pumpkins and cornstalks. Sounds a lot like America. China. I'm gonna say this wrong, but the Dingxie, or the Hungry Ghost Festival in China, is not strictly a Halloween custom. Rather, it is an old tradition that guides the spirits that walk the earth. On the 15th day of the 7th lunar month, Ghost Month, at dusk, people lay out incense, food, and water in front of photos of deceased family members. These spirits might then bestow blessings or punishments upon their living relatives. Many see this tradition as a way of appeasing the hungry ghosts who have been errant since the beginning of Ghost Month. Later that same night, a feast is typically held where families leave an open setting at the table for a departed ancestor. I would have to have a really big table. In Czechoslovakia, chairs are placed by the fireside on Halloween night. There's one chair for each living family member and one for each family member's spirit. In England, while the Irish and Scots preferred turnips, English children made punkies out of large beets, upon which they carved a design of their choice. Then they would carry their punkies through the streets while singing the Punky Night song. As they knocked on doors and asked for money, that's so cool. Halloween became Guy Fawkes Night and moved a few days later, but recently it has been celebrated on October 31st, in addition to Guy Fawkes Night. In some rural areas, turnip lanterns were placed on gateposts to protect homes from spirits who roamed on Halloween night. Another custom was to toss objects such as stones, vegetables, and nuts into a bonfire to frighten away the spirits. These symbolic sacrifices were also used as fortune-telling tools. If a pebble thrown into the flames at night was no longer visible in the morning, it was believed that the person who tossed the pebble would not survive another year. Oh. If the nuts tossed into the fire by young lovers exploded, it signified a quarrelsome marriage. I'm sorry if you just heard my chair. For the most part, however, the English ceased celebrating Halloween with the spread of Martin Luther's Protestant Reformation. Since followers of the new religion did not believe in saints, they saw no reason to celebrate the eve of All Saints' Day. However, in recent years, the American trick-or-treating custom, together with the dawning costumes for going door to door has become a relatively popular pastime among English children at Halloween. Although many of the adults, particularly older generations, have little idea as to why they're being asked for sweets and are usually ill prepared to accommodate their small and hopeful callers. Oh, that's kind of sad. Okay, I have to shift. I'm sorry. Oh, it's the second video I filmed today. Okay. France. Now, unlike most nations of the world, Halloween is not celebrated by the French in order to honor the dead and departed ancestors. It is regarded as an American holiday in France and was virtually unknown in the country until roughly 1996, according to my research. A combination of the French love of parties and costume events, some simple crass commercialism, has led to the rapid rise of the holiday in France. The French had been hearing about Halloween from foreign residents and tourists in their English classes for years before the holiday ever showed its face in France. In 1982, the American Dream bar/restaurant in Paris began celebrating Halloween. At first, it had to explain the holiday to each customer, but since about 1995, French customers have tended to be more and more familiar with Halloween. The Mask Museum in Saint-Hilaire, St. Florent, was opened by a Caesar group in 1992, and the owners started working to expand Halloween in France the following year. In 1996, the village of Saint-Germain in Lynne, I know I'm saying all these wrong, I'm so sorry, held a Halloween party on October 24th in the middle of the day to give locals an idea of what it was all about. Meanwhile, companies like France Telecom, McDonald's, Disney, and Coca-Cola began using pumpkins and other Halloween images and ideas in public campaigns. This simultaneously increased the French people's knowledge about Halloween and made it seem like another imposition of American culture. So, how is Halloween celebrated in France, you ask? It is usually celebrated by costumed people of all ages going to parties at friends' homes, restaurants, bars, clubs. The costumes themselves seem to be traditionally scary, unlike America, I feel. Mummies, ghosts, goblins, witches, vampires, rather than cute costumes like princesses, superheroes, or cartoon characters. Trick-or-treating is extremely rare, and when it does exist, it's not from house to house like we do here. It is from store to store. Stores, malls, restaurants, offices, and homes decorate their windows. Pastry and candy shops make up special desserts and candies. And many different companies use Halloween in their ads. Supermarkets sell pumpkins for jack-o'-lanterns, and candy companies are now marketing candy in the traditional Halloween formal. One big bag filled with lots of little packages, which may encourage trick-or-treating. Traditionally, pumpkins are not a popular food in France, so the high demand for jack-o'-lanterns during Halloween has been a boon for pumpkin growers. There's even a pumpkin patch at a farm outside of Paris where people can pick their own. There's like 5 of them within distance players attempt to bite the hanging apple. Have y'all ever done that? I imagine I'd be so bad at it. In addition to bobbing for apples, parents often arrange treasure hunts with candies or pastries as the treasure. The Irish also play a card game where cards are laid face down on a table with candy or coins underneath, and when a child chooses a card, he gets the prize found below. A traditional food eaten on Halloween is called bambrack, a kind of fruit cake that can be bought in stores or baked at home. A muslin wrapped treat is baked inside the cake that is said can foretell the eater's future. If a ring is found, it means the person will soon be wed. A piece of straw means that a prosperous year is on the way. Children are also known to play tricks on their neighbors, such as knock a dolly, a prank in which children knock on the doors of their neighbors but run away before the door is opened. Yep, sounds like America. Italy. Halloween customs, I keep saying that, customs are rooted in ancient traditions like, oh my gosh, La Festa di Ognissanti, or Hallowmass in Italy. I cannot. November 1st is All Saints' Day, the first day of Hallowmass, which celebrates the Catholic saints. On this holiday, Italians will spend time with their families and even exchange gifts. November 2nd is All Souls' Day, a commemoration of deceased loved ones. Families will leave chrysanthemums on loved ones' graves, attend a requiem mass for the dead, and eat lots of food. It is believed that spirits share in the celebrations, hence cookies called favre de morti, or beans of the dead, are offered to the deceased. In ancient Rome, beans were used in funeral rites because it was believed they housed the souls of the dead. Oh, maybe that's why Sean doesn't like them. Haiti. In Haiti, the Festival of the Dead has all the vive of Halloween tradition, but with a completely different cultural backdrop, maybe. On November 1st and 2nd, Haitian practitioners of voodoo pay their respects to the Baron Samedi, the father of deceased spirits. Voodoo saints dance in the streets to commune with their dead and walk through graveyards where they feed their ancestors with food from their own table. The Festival of the Dead is occasionally described as the voodoo equivalent of Mardi Gras, Dia de los Muertos, and Halloween because of its explosive celebratory atmosphere, vibrant cultural traditions, and commemoration of deceased family. Japan. Now, Japan doesn't celebrate Western-style Halloween. While most people know a little bit about Halloween from the United States, with costumes and parties and trick-or-treating, very few know exactly when or how it's celebrated. The Japanese celebrate the Obon festival, Obon, I think it's Obon, which is similar to Halloween festivities, in that it is dedicated to the spirits of their ancestors. Special foods are prepared and bright red lanterns are hung everywhere. Candles are lit and placed into lanterns, which are then set afloat on rivers and seas. During the Obon festival, a fire is lit every night in order to show the ancestors where their families might be found. Obon is one of the two main occasions during the Japanese year when the dead are believed to return to their birthplaces. Traditionally, in rural areas where grave sites are in the neighborhood, the pathway from the graves to the home is swept clean, and a general house clearing is also done. And then on the 13th, an altar is set up with, I totally lost my place. Me. Various food offerings and welcoming fires are set in front of the house and along the path to guide and welcome spirits. People may even hire a priest to come and chant prayers. On the evening of the 15th, send-off fires are lit and the spirits return to their graves. People who spend Obon away from their ancestral homes or live in the city usually make just a little token fire on their veranda or patio. Memorial stones are cleaned and community dances performed. The Obon festival takes place wearing them. Kimonos are so gorgeous. Korea. In Korea, the festival similar to Halloween is known as Chuseok. It is at this time that the families thank their ancestors for the fruits of their labor. The family pays respect to these ancestors by visiting their tombs and making offering of rice and fruits. This festival takes place in August. I kind of lumped together, because it's fairly well the same, Mexico, Latin America, and Spain, and this is probably the festival that y'all have heard of. Among New World Spanish-speaking nations, particularly Mexico and Latin America, Halloween is known as El Dia de los Muertos, the Days of the Dead, a 3-day celebration that begins on the evening of October 31st and culminates on November 2nd. This is an ancient festivity that has been transformed throughout the years. It was originally intended in prehistoric Mexico to celebrate children and the dead. Mexican families remember their dead and the continuity of life. It is a joyous, happy holiday, a time to remember friends and family who have died. Officially commemorated on November 2nd, All Souls Day, the 3-day celebration begins on Halloween, designed to honor the dead who are believed to return to their homes on Halloween. Many families construct an altar in their home and decorate it with candy, flowers, photographs, fresh water, and samples of the deceased's favorite food and drinks. Frequently, a basin and towel are left out so that the spirit can wash prior to indulging in the feast. Candles and incense are burned to help the departed find his or her way home. On November 2nd, relatives gather at the gravesite to picnic and reminisce. Relatives also tidy up the gravesites of deceased family members, including snipping weeds, making repairs, and painting. The grave is then adorned with flowers, wreaths, or paper streamers. They bring picnics and sit around the gravesites, sharing stories of the departed and feasting on foods such as spicy meat dishes, batter bread, and sweets, some of them shaped like skulls. The abundance of food, drink, and good company creates a festive atmosphere, along with recognizing the cycle of life by the interaction of the living with the dead. Some of these gatherings may even include tequila and a mariachi band, although American Halloween customs, I did it again, are gradually taking over this celebration. In Mexico, during the autumn, countless numbers of monarch butterflies return to the shelter of Mexico's fir trees, and it was the belief of the Aztecs that these butterflies bore the spirits of the dead ancestors. In villages, parades are held. People dress as skeletons and dance in the streets. Often a live person is placed inside a coffin, which is then paraded through the streets, while vendors toss fruit, flowers, and candies into the casket. Home feasts are held, and loaves of bread, the bread of the dead, are given. Inside the loaves are sugar skeletons and other items of death's motif. This gift is more prized if the skull or skeleton is embossed with one's own name. The families also attend a candlelit ceremony in church and offer prayers. The whole celebration is about life from beginning to end. The Netherlands. Halloween in the Netherlands is a small affair, seen as evidence of Americanization and commercialism rather than cultural institution. Despite this, shades of Halloween can be seen in wild parties dotted around Amsterdam. However, on November 11th, the Dutch hold Sint Maarten, a children's feast day that resembles American Halloween, yet is more widely practiced. On the evening of the 11th, children can be spotted in the streets, not unlike trick-or-treaters. The children typically carry lanterns that resemble a sugar beet or a turnip, reminiscent of the American jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. As they wander the streets, the children will knock on doors and sing songs to their neighbors in hopes of receiving candy. I like singing a song much better than saying trick-or-treat. In Missouri, you have to tell a joke to get candy. I was so flabbergasted by that when I lived there. Portugal. Dia das Bruxas also visit the graves of deceased relatives on the Day of the Witches. They adorn the graves with flowers and candy to honor their ancestors. And I have one more. Sweden. In Sweden, Halloween is known as Alla Helgondag and is celebrated from October 31st until November 6th. As with many other holidays, this holiday has an eve, which is either celebrated or becomes a shortened working day. I like that. The Friday prior to All Saints' Day is a short day for universities, while school-age children are given a day of vacation. So, as much as I mispronounced in this video, I really found it so interesting to learn all these other traditions. Like, I want to know why the German people put away their knives. So if you could tell me that down below, I want to know. So let's see. In my family, excuse me, I don't know what that was. Was it a cup or what? I used to, somewhere around my birthday, which is at the end of September, my nieces and nephews would come over and we would put up all my Halloween decorations. And then on Halloween, my sister and my nephews would come over and we would give out candy. Ever since I have not lived with my mother, I've really gone big for holidays. I used to do it up huge for Christmas and for my nieces and nephews and everything, but I almost always need someone to hold the dog because when they knock, the dog freaks out. So I either took her to my mom's because they weren't getting trick-or-treaters, or I had my sister and nephews come over. Now that Sean and I live together, I'm not as close with my nieces and nephews as I used to be, which makes me really sad, but Sean and I almost always bake cookies and watch Hocus Pocus and give out candy. I'm sure y'all will be seeing pictures of that here very soon. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please tell me down below what the traditions are in your state, in your city, in your country. I would love to know. Tell me all about it. If I didn't mention it, if I did mention it, if I got something wrong. My only source